been asked to do an introduction, but I'm going to say he needs no introduction. Mr. Chris Hattingh.
Advanced one back. There we go. Wow, Gavin, such beautiful reminders there, and it's something that you hear me talking about it time and time again, is the mistakes that I made right in the beginning as well, is when we end up puking on people. And I think you've noticed with all the speakers, there's a common thread, how it's a mistake that a lot of us have made. And, you know, we don't do it on purpose. We don't kind of go, I'm going to go puke on people just because I can. It's because of excitement. And sometimes we just need to notch it down. And what I've always learned is, how would I like to receive something from somebody else? I learned this many years ago. Always put yourself in other people's shoes. How would you like to receive the message? And it's all about that little bit of info. So yes, George sent me 21 messages, but he didn't send me 21 messages in 2 days. George stretched the 21 messages over 2.5 months. But he strategically knew which bits of information to send to me. And how do we do this in today's society? You've all seen these two logos. We all know what this is: Telegram and WhatsApp. Did you know, statistically, that the average person looks at their phone 97 times a day? 97 times a day. So this is our mode of communication in this world that we live in. Now, if you think about it carefully, this little thing that we're holding in our hand over here can make you a multimillionaire. Just this little thing I'm holding. But guess where this started? You know when this was developed, the cell phone? It was developed in 1838. This was developed in 1838. Nobody knows that. 1838. But it's taken 186 years to get it to this point, where we have, we used to say business in a box. You remember that saying? I like to call it, you got your life in your pocket. Your life in your pocket. And this developed 87 years ago. And you'll never guess who changed the face of this planet. You know, we all think of certain great people, well-known, spoken about often, but there's certain people that haven't been spoken about enough. Because we're living a very different world right now because of a person by the name of Samuel Morse. Samuel Morse created this 186 years ago. Do you think he knew that in 186 years' time, this is what we would be carrying in our pockets? Because our lives depend on these little devices we have in our hands for many different reasons. Now, where did the evolution of the cell phone begin? So Samuel Morse was born in 1871. Back to front. 1791. He was an American painter, and listen to this, an inventor. He was an inventor. An inventor is a visionary. What is David Schmidt? He's an inventor and a visionary. And guess what? I was talking to Beverly about this last night. Beverly that's flown up from Cape Town. And we were talking about the bloodline. Now, don't you think it's quite interesting that David Schmidt came from a family of inventors, game changers of the world? Guess what? Samuel Morse came from a family of inventors. life-changing people. But it might not happen straight away. Can you see there was a bit of a delay? 186-year delay, right? And we get frustrated because the person we spoke to yesterday at lunchtime didn't sign up by last night. Why? What is wrong with these people? I sent him 28 video clips at lunchtime yesterday. Why is he not in my business by last night? You know what? Maybe this morning will be fine. Doesn't work like that. Delayed gratification. Things take a bit of time. And I'm so glad that Gavin spoke about feeling. George and I talk about this often. We talk about intuition and feeling. So when it comes to like making a name list and that type of stuff, we do things a little bit differently. Yes, I've got my pad and paper out before, but that's not my main aspect of LifeWave and how I approach people. I've got my basic name list, right? But what I do is I go with signs on a day-to-day basis. I watch out for the synchronicities. I look out for the messages because they're all around you. And all you've got to do is tune in and start becoming a little bit more aware of your surroundings and not seeing things happening as pure chance, because everything in life happens for a reason. Drive past a truck and it says Harry's Furniture Removals. What happens then? When I get home, I'm going to have a look and go, right, how many Harrys do I have on my Facebook or on my contact list? And these are the people that I contact. But I don't do it straight away. I first think about it. I manifest it. I put it out there. I do it about 2 days later. I send them a message, and you're not going to believe this. You send them the message, and they say, Chris, I actually cannot believe this. I was just thinking about you yesterday. That's what we're talking about, natural feelings and going with the flow. And not to change. Because what I found as well is, so a person joins, and now they go into business mode, and they become all formal and stiff. And people can pick it up straight away when you are being a little bit different than yourself. You see, get it? People pick it up straight away. People expect you to be the same. If I had to send a message to Wilson, as an example, and I had to say, hi, Wilson, hope you're keeping well. I've got something that I would like to share with you. Wilson's going to phone me and go, have you taken drugs, dude? Is there something wrong with you? Because I say, my brother, how are you doing? Well, I've got my other friend, Darren. Darren and I have known each other for 14 years. We call each other dude. He calls me dude, I call him dude. Now imagine if I had to open the conversation saying something else other than, how's it, dude? How's the cows and the chickens on your farm? Because he lives on a farm. And always ripping off about milking cows, because that's what he does in the afternoons. So I go, how is the milking of the cows doing? That's the way we talk. Listen, I've come across something I need to share with you. I'm going to send you something now. You carry on as per normal. Don't skip that beat. Because what happens is you fall out of a rhythm, right? Your normal, natural, human, God-given rhythm that we all have. And that's what we need to get back to, is our own unique rhythm. Don't break that rhythm, because you're going to come across fake. And I love it where Gavin also said, fake it till you make it. I remember the first time I heard that, probably 25 years ago. No, it doesn't sit well. I don't like that, fake it till you make it. That seems so false. We've got enough to share with people that is real. And emotion, raw, real emotion. So I want to talk about evolution of a little bit of a process of how we got to where we are now. But let me finish off with Samuel Morse. So in 1832 to 1835, So it took him 3 years to develop the electric telegraph. Then in 1838, he developed Morse code, 186 years ago. He sent the first message of dots and dashes over a 10-mile wire. In 1843, he got funding from Congress. And in 1844, the first telegraph line from Baltimore to Washington, D.C. was laid. And after that, guess what happened in 1847? In 1847, he became a multimillionaire because he changed the world forever. Do you think that man deserves to be a multimillionaire? Hell yes, because look at the way he's changed our lives. So this is after the telegraph. There's a little bit of a phone there. You've got to push these little buttons. That was called a hunting line or something like that. I know it's made on farms. Right, who remembers? Okay, I don't think we have many people that old in the audience. But that's where the phone began over 100 years ago. Then there were a few modifications. Look at that. All right, who remembers this one? My grandmother had one of those ones. Zip, zzz, zip, zzz, zip, zzz. Remember those? Remember those? You show this to a kid today, they look at it and go, what is that? Do you know what they try and do? They try and push the little buttons there. They don't know you've got to... They don't know that, okay? Oh, that was more like my grands. That was more like my grandmother's. Then, remember this. Ooh, fancy. Push the buttons. Oh, digital screen. Look at this. Look at that. Then, the brick. The first cell phone that was developed. Motorola. 1990, 92, 93. I remember I had that one. That was the new slim one that came out in 94. Then I went for this. Then I had the Siemens. And who remembers this one? The 3310. The game changer in the cell phone industry. The one that you could ride it over with your car. You could drop it 2 stories. Kaboom, on the ground. And guess what you do? You pick it up, and it works. Now, guess what? Did you know at this stage, at this point, when that cell phone came out, Nokia had 92% market share in the cell phone industry. Do you know what it's like to have a company that's got 92% share in an entire industry? They were printing money. And then they evolved a little bit, digital screen. I remember my dad had this one. Then I got that one. Took my first photo from a cell phone. Okay, guys, now I'm one of these, we were talking about change, okay? Who moved my cheese? And being resistant to change. My brain could not comprehend this. I had my camera separate to my PDA, which was separate to my phone. I'm like, you don't take photos with a phone. Phones are made for phoning, and cameras are made for taking photos. What? I thought this, guys, what idiots put the two together? I thought that. Listen, I was one of the people, I bought my first BMW when I was 23, and it came with a CD player. It came with a CD player. I took the car back. And I told them to take the CD player out and put a cassette tape thing back in. Honest story. Henny, where's Henny? Henny's in the audience here. Henny, you remember my burgundy BM? We went to Botswana a few times in that burgundy BM. Henny was right there in those beginning days. And he remembers I took the CD player out to put a tape player back in. I used to be quite resistant to change, wouldn't you say? And that's where a lot of us are. A lot of us are. So when this whole thing of putting everything together didn't make sense in my head. But there we go, 92% to nearly bankrupt, because guess what happened? Oh, remember the BlackBerry? BlackBerry, we all had one of those. BlackBerry. And then guess what happened? Touch screen phones. Steve Jobs took it to that next level, right? And guess what happened? The marketing manager of Nokia that had a 92% share in the cell phone industry, he said that touch screen is a fad. It's going to go within a year or two. Everybody will stick to buttons. Yep, stick to buttons. And guess what happened? Nokia nearly went out of business. Yes, he wasn't only fired, Eric, he was sued. The marketing manager of Nokia was sued, along with his whole marketing department, because they nearly destroyed a company because of his own ignorance. So it just shows you it's all about other people's perceptions of the world. So going back to, here we are with this little baby in our hands over here. I'm going to teach you something today that I only got exposed to. Okay, don't forget, guys, you know I'm a slow learner, okay? I take a while. I saw this little logo, this little colorful little rainbow logo. It popped onto my WhatsApp. It just appeared there. I didn't ask for it. It just ended up on my WhatsApp, that little color. I looked at it for weeks. I just looked at it. I thought, I wonder what this is. I didn't ask anybody. I just kept it to myself and just thought, I don't know how it got there. I'm not going to ask any questions. Just turn a blind eye. There's funny things on my phone, whatever. I just left it at that. Then eventually I was talking to Wilson, and he said to me, ask Meta. I said to him, sorry, ask what? Who? I asked him something. He said, no, ask Meta. I said, who's Meta? I thought it was a person. Whew. It's Meta AR. I go, oh, that's spooky. Oh my goodness, this AR thing, this is like really advanced, you know? They said, no, it's on your WhatsApp. And I said, oh, is that little color that's there? He goes, did you notice it? I'm like, yes, I see it every day, and it's like irritating me. I'd be dying to ask. He goes, well, that's what it is. Ask Meta a question. Ask Meta a question. Ask it anything. Okay. All right, so here we go. Anybody on your WhatsApp? Here we go. You see that little color there? I circled it and it says here, ask Meta AR or search. So what you do, you type the word Meta in, and then you ask it a question. Meta's become like, we're close now. We're chabas. We're friends. It's my go-to. It's my happy place. Because it answers freaking everything. We were talking about Google. Ask Google. Or Siri. That's old school. Siri, old school. Google what? Like as Sandy always calls it, Professor Google. Google's going out of business with this new stuff. Let me tell you, Meta is the bomb. So I just typed in some stuff. Now I'm asking all weird questions. Like weird stuff. Guys, in 5 seconds, bam, there it is. And I think I'm going to catch this Meta out. Yes, and I say, I want the top 15 something rock artists in, but this, that, and da-da-da-da. Weird question. And 5 seconds later, and you see how polite Meta is. Thank you so much for your question. Here are the answers as per your question, Chris. They are listed as per. Wow. And then they still ask afterwards, was this helpful? Give me a thumbs up if it was. I haven't given Meta a thumbs down yet. She hasn't let me down. Mine's a she. So what I did was, I thought, let me ask a real random question. This was 3 days ago. I asked Meta, my friend, top 10 reasons why some people succeed in life and others fail. I thought, this is quite interesting. Let me see what Meta says. Let's see, in Meta, 5 seconds, guys. 5 seconds. Anybody can do this right now on their WhatsApp. There we go. Success factors. clear goals, hard work and perseverance, resilience, positive mindset, self-discipline, continuous learning, adaptability, strong support network, accountability, passion and purpose. I just read these 10 things. And do you realize that I think nearly every one of those words have been mentioned by one of our speakers already here this morning? You think that's coincidence? No. So would you say that we are in the right room when we're talking about a success factor on reasons why people succeed? I think every single one of us sitting here, we are wired for success. That's why we're here right now, today. Then I asked the failure. Why do some people not succeed? Why do others fail? It says here, failure factors, lack of clear goals, procrastination, negative mindset. Negative mindset, let me tell you, I ran away from that like the plague. Negativity, I push it away. I don't entertain it anymore. I start to actually repel negativity because I see where it comes from. Unwillingness to learn. Unwillingness to learn. Participate in your own rescue. In this life that we live in, nobody's here to come and save you. There's no safety net. Most of us sitting here don't have safety nets. When you have your back against the wall, it's you or the road. It's you or the road. We don't have safety nets. Poor time management, distractions, fear of failure, lack of accountability, unhealthy habits, and giving up. And there, if you look at the slide, the last slide that I showed earlier on this morning, where people give up when they're just so close because they didn't have the right expectations set when they started. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time. Anything good in life takes time. Now, David Schmidt, $4.5 million and 10 years to bring X39 to the marketplace. Wouldn't you say that's a bit of patience? And $4.5 million, guys, not rand, dollars. $4.5 million. Because anything good in life takes time. Now, when we're learning something new, so here we are, we in a new industry. You might be in the network marketing industry for the very first time. And that's what is so amazing with LifeWave. What I found is a lot of the veterans that have been in the industry for 20, 30 years have been watching. They've stepped back, but they've been watching. How is the stickability? Hey, Chris has been doing this for over a year. Chris has been doing this for 2 years. Hang on, there must be something happening here. So I found of recent, just the last couple of months, a lot of people are coming back into the industry. Because here we have a product that, number one, works, and number two, is patented. This is network marketer's dream come true. And that's what we're sitting with in our hands right now, where we share this with people, but what I'm also finding is a lot of people are coming into this beautiful industry for the very first time. And I love what Johnny said. You know, the only reason why the industry got a bad rap in the late 80s, early 90s, is not because of the industry, because of the bad players, because of the human element. The humans gave an industry the bad name, not an industry gave an industry a bad name, the humans, because of the greed factor. And let me tell you, in LifeWave, greed does not work. Greed does not work. The want to help another human being from your heart, that is what makes a difference. You do not focus on the money. You focus on helping another person. And trust me, the money follows automatically the way the industry was actually originally designed. And that's what's happening. We are cleaning up the industry. In other words, cleaning up in the way of giving it its name back that it deserves. And that's what we're doing right now with David Schmidt and LifeWave. So, learning something new, there's 4 steps. The first step is you're unconsciously incompetent. Now, this is with absolutely anything. You're unconsciously incompetent. What does this mean? You don't know what you don't know. So this is like ignorance bliss, because you don't know that you don't know that you're doing what you're doing, so it doesn't matter anyway. But now the scary part is step 2 is when you become consciously incompetent. This is scary because now you know that you don't know what you're doing, which means the learning process is ahead of you. The place you want to get to is step 3, very quickly, consciously competent. Now, how do you get there? That's where Lucinda was. I tried to explain to Lucinda a bit about the industry, and she was like, yo, that's a lot to take in. So you know what I said to her? Homework, YouTube, clips, and watch. And that's what Lucinda did for 3 months. Guys, every time I watched her, she was either watching Eric Worre, Jim Rohn, you name it. Darren Kidd, she watched every one of those video clips. That's why she posted. I made her post it on the groups, 40 clips. I made her post it every morning, but she wasn't allowed to post it until she watched it. And that is how she got educated in this beautiful industry. So this is a good place to be. Now you know that you know what you're doing. But the place that you really want to get to is unconsciously competent. What does that mean? That is the same as when you're driving a car. You don't have to think about indicating. You don't have to think about stopping at a red light. You don't have to think about looking in the mirror. This is on a subconscious level because you've mastered it. And anything in life, if you want to master a skill, guess how many hours it takes? 10,000 hours to master a skill. It's not going to happen on its own. Bottom line is you have to put the time in. You've got to put the time in. You know, if most people, the negative people that complain that this is not working, no, it's not working, because this is not called net sit marketing. It's called network marketing. And yes, there is a 4-letter swear word involved. It's called WORK, the 4-letter swear word called work. You've got to put the work in. Nothing's going to land on your lap by doing nothing. It's called cause and effect, right? And I'm going to finish off with this beautiful saying, which I actually love, by Albert Einstein. You know, people think that if they keep going to work, I always ask a question. I say, right, 5 years ago, so now we're talking about BC, that's before COVID. 5 years ago, I asked the question. I was with Lucinda when I asked the question. Lucinda just sat there, her mouth dropped open, and she was like, Chris, do you know how powerful that is that you just said? I asked the person, we're down in Belito, and I asked him, I said, what were you earning 5 years ago? I said, I don't care what don't tell me what you're earning, that's private, but in your head, you've got a figure. What were you earning 5 years ago? BC, okay? Now I want to ask you, what are you earning today? You know that blank face that Gavin pulled? Just like, is it more? Or is it less? Or is it the same? You want to talk about a wake-up call? Because some people are earning less today than what they were earning 5 years ago. Is that normal? Not in my world. That's not normal. That's beyond a slave. Then I always ask, doing what you're currently doing, not changing a thing, what will you be earning 5 years from now? And then you see a different look, a look of panic in their face, and they go, that sort of breath taken away. If you keep doing what you do, day in and day out, and expect a different result, that is the heart of insanity. So if you want to change your circumstances, you need to change what you are doing. And that's what we have in our hands right now. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Okay.